So I have gone on YouTube and I have watched every single review video on this device and Sony devices for the past couple of years, but this device in particular, because a lot of people, including some major reviewers on YouTube, have been complaining and nitpicking, including NKBHD and others as well. This phone in general is an absolute beast, and this is why. Sony doesn't have to cater to the masses. They take what they want, they take their philosophy, and they build a phone they think what a phone should be. If you look at most modern designs, most modern phones, they all look exactly the same. You're gonna have a slab of a screen, 18:9 ratio, with a punch hole in the middle or on the left side. You're gonna have a glass or a matte plastic back, and that's pretty much it. Every single manufacturer, especially if we talk about phones coming out of China, Oppo, Xiaomi, Vivo, Huawei, they all look exactly the same. There is no difference. Even Samsung phones, up to a certain extent, they also look exactly the same. This is the only manufacturer that makes something that looks even remotely unique. 21:9 aspect ratio with slim bezels on top and bottom. Why? Well, because it's more convenient. When you have bezels, number one, you can fit bigger speakers like they did, and they are both front facing speakers. Nothing here. I don't have to worry when I'm holding my phone, watching a movie, playing video games, if I'm going to encounter issues. Number two, the aspect ratio is better for two different things. Number one, watching movies on this phone is absolutely brilliant. No interruptions, nothing. It stretches from one side to the other, and that's it. Fits perfectly. Number two, when you are streaming through your media, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever your poison is, 9GAG, you can generally fit more. If you're multitasking, it's more practical. Trust me, it is better. And yes, if you watch YouTube on your phone, yes, you are going to have slightly bigger black bars, but for me personally, that really hasn't been an issue overall. As for the design, glass back, glass front, Gorilla Glass 6, perfect design, seamless, sturdy frame. I had no issues with the design. Yes, the back is slippery, but nowadays most of us will do a debrand scan or put it in a case, so it doesn't really make that difference. When you buy a phone that is $1,000 expensive, yes, you will put it in a case, because if you drop it, even if it doesn't break or shatter, it will, it will get a crack or a crevice or scratches and whatever. Most of us do that either way. That's how you eliminate the glossy slippery back, and that's how you eliminate the minimal camera bump on the back. The design is perfect. This, I agree, it is pretty much useless. I don't know why they keep putting the Google Assistant button, and it's not remappable, but at the end of the day, nobody really cares, because it doesn't really bother most of us in any way. Does it get in the way? No. So yeah, it is there. No negatives, no pros, that's it. Camera shutter button, a welcome addition on any phone, has done wonders. Launches the camera quickly. Hold halfway to focus, full press to either do a burst shot or to take a single picture depending on your settings. Design wise, absolutely perfect. Screen, one of the best, if not the best screen on any phone right now. This is better than Samsung displays because the pulse wave modulation frequency is higher. It's not going to hurt your eyes. If you take a Xiaomi phone, for example, their pulse wave modulation frequency is low. Even though you cannot see it with your eye, if you are getting a headache from Xiaomi phones or Samsung phones respectively, or you have eye strain, it is because of this. You cannot register it with your naked eye, but your eye will subconsciously pick it up. Number two, this screen literally feels like you have a small Sony Bravia TV in your hand. I have never watched movies or watched any content, YouTube or whatever, on any phone like I do on this phone, because it just looks better. The display calibration is better. If you go into your settings, and if you go into your display settings, image quality settings, you have standard mode and creator mode. Standard mode is where you get all the punchy colors and so on and so forth. I prefer the creator mode where everything is neutral and the colors are slightly warmer so as to be more pleasing to the eye, but still not too warm because the whites are being kept to be actually white. The display paired with the front-facing stereo speakers, perfect gaming media consumption device. Absolutely awesome. The speakers are not the loudest on the market, but at the same time, you crank up the volume, you play something, again, I'm going to play my own song so I don't get copyrighted. You play anything, you crank up the volume to the max, there is no distortion. The bass is very clear. It's not extremely prominent, but it is there. The speakers are absolutely brilliant, and they're coupled with Dolby Atmos. You have settings in there. You can either adjust the equalizer across the board manually, or you have some presets. Like, again, it's not a new thing. Dolby Atmos has been around for quite some time. It really does wonders. You have the audio jack. To be honest with you, it's not the most powerful audio jack on any device. The audio output isn't as strong as I would like it to be, but you know, it's nice to have it there for people that have pretty good pairs of headphones, like I have my M50Xs. It's going to give you a very, very neutral, stable audio output. So in that regards, it's a good addition to have. Me personally, I prefer the LDAC, and whatever you pair with this, again, I pair the M50Xs, the Bluetooth edition, or the 1000MX3s, the WF 1000 MX4. Sony's naming scheme is absolutely terrible when it comes to headphones. But yeah, whatever you pair with this, you're going to have a very, very good experience. When it comes to performance, this is better than the 5 Mark III. The Snapdragon 865 is not prone to overheating like the 888 is, and the cooling solution on this one, for some reason, it is better than on the Xperia 5 Mark III. I've been playing Asphalt 8, I've been playing Arena of Valor, I've been playing a lot of games, and I had no overheating issues whatsoever. Given that I live in China, in order to play Google Play games, I have to connect to a VPN service, otherwise it will not work. And this is one of the best additions. Sony's gaming mode is ridiculously brilliant. I will reduce the volume because of the review so you can actually hear me speaking. The loading time is a little bit longer because I'm using a VPN service, otherwise, like I said, it wouldn't work. But when I leave China, go to Europe, go back home, the loading time is much faster because of the direct internet connection. Now, the most important thing, Sony's gaming mode. First of all, when you go to custom, you can set the number of frames and it goes up to 240. 120 is supported by the screen, and then 240 is what you get with some software trickery from Sony. It does improve the clarity. They're adding black frames in between every game frame. So yeah, you got response speed, touch tracking, and so on. One of the most important things for me is the HS power control. You come back home, your battery is low, but you want a game, no problem. You plug it in. It does not charge the battery. The phone acts like a console and the power goes directly into your phone. Or your phone is at full power, but you want to go out, it's Friday night, Saturday night, weekend, you don't want to drain your battery, but you want a game. Again, you plug in, you use the power from the outlet. It does not affect the battery in any way, and when you decide to leave, you leave. You want to boost it, you go to Performance Preferred, and it literally unlocks the beast of a phone. And the best part for me is this: no matter how much I game, no matter how much I play games, and this right now is running at 60 frames per second from the game. I am recording at a lower frame rate, so you cannot see that. But for example, if I go into the game, and even if I play for hours on end, I never had any issues with the phone overheating any sorts and so on. Like, I've been able to play for hours and hours on end. So for example, I will give you a quick Now, to make this very clear, this is not a gaming review, and this is why I'm not recording at 60 frames per second. But when I and if I decide to do a gaming review, I will record that in 60 frames per second, and that gaming review will be focused particularly on gaming. As for battery life, I've been getting 5 to 7.5 hours depending on what I do. With heavy gaming sessions, if I'm outside and whatnot, I do that on the battery. I will get about 5 hours of screen on time. About 3 hours of that would be gaming at 60 or 120 frames per second, and 2 hours would be social media, music playback, and so on. If I do not game, when I'm going to work, when I have a work day, I would get 7 to 7.5, sometimes even 8 hours of social media, WeChat, because we use that in China to communicate, and so on and so forth. This software with the 4000 milliamp battery, regardless of it being a 120 hertz panel, this is so well optimized that you would not believe. 8 gigabytes of RAM, you really do not need more than that because the software is really optimized very well. It's very close to stock Android with just a few bells and whistles from Sony, and that's pretty much it. My overall experience with this phone has been phenomenal. I've seen people complain about all sorts of issues, Wi-Fi connectivity, network connectivity, and so on. Let's make this clear. Even though this is a 5G phone, it does not support United States bands. You cannot connect to a 5G network in the United States. People have been complaining about the camera. Now, let me make myself clear. I've been using the camera app, the stock one. Just point and shoot, and that's it. I have not been even touching the Cinema Pro or Photo Pro app because yes, they are useful to people who know how to use them. I'm doing this review as a person, like a general daily driver person, an average consumer, or whatever you want to call it, that literally just goes, opens the camera app, points, and shoots. And with that in mind, low light video of the lava lamp. Again, no issues. The dynamic range is awesome. The reason the video is losing focus is because I focused on the actual blob of wax here. When the wax goes outside of the focus point, the video will refocus and try to find where I'm focusing. If we talk about low light photography, my lovely wife, this photo is perfectly exposed. And it's not like I took 20 different photos to search for the perfect one. No, point, shoot, first photo. And this is a difficult scenario because the right side is black, the room is dark, but the light is coming from the lamp on the left side. No flares, no highlights blown, details are preserved extremely well, no issues whatsoever. Daylight video. One thing that I'm not happy about is the Sony's stabilization. It's sharp. The dynamic range is huge, but I wish it could be stabilized better. I don't know why both OIS and EIS are working and it's not as good as I thought it would be. But the dynamic range, the detail, everything is absolutely there. Again, Sony does not do the computational photography trickery. Sony tries as much as possible to preserve the things exactly the way they are. This is a difficult shot because the left side is in the dark, in the shade, and then the right side or the far side of the picture is in direct sunlight. It preserved the details of my friend as they would be seen when we were actually standing there. He's in the shade. You can tell out his details, the lines of his face and so on, but it's not blown out of proportion where it looks like it's digital art rather than a photo. Same here. I'm taking a photo from the shade with the trees acting as a frame. The detail is preserved well. The dynamic range is very high. Absolute masterclass photography from the actual hardware itself. Nothing to do with the software. Portrait mode. Again, a lot of people complaining. My wife, sorry. What am I doing wrong? Thank you. All right. I've seen a lot of people complain. This is the first photo that I took. Again, not 20 photos. I had no issues with object separation. I had no issues with smooth face. Everything is absolutely clear. No issues whatsoever. Daylight photography, just a scene, very well lit scene. Again, no issues, extremely high detail, everything preserved to the bone, great dynamic range. So honestly, this is where Sony lacks. The front facing camera is completely utilitarian. If you're a person who's going to go to the club, take a lot of, low light photos and whatnot, the selfie camera is absolute trash. And this is why. I lived in Japan for about a year and I understand their philosophy. They're not a culture of selfies, and in general, Japanese people, when they do something, they do it, they keep things simple. Selfie camera is supposed to be, in their respective tradition and culture, utilitarian, and that's it. Phone calls, video calls, whatever. Yes, you're gonna take a selfie photo from time to time. If that's what you're looking for, that's what it is. But if you want a phone that is going to take an enormous amount of photos when you go clubbing or for TikTok or for whatever you do, don't go for this. You will have to go for something else. The bottom line is this. This is an absolute beast of a phone. The price, at least here in China, has dropped down to $500 or 3,500 RMB, respectively. It is a beast of a phone. Should you get the 5 Mark III? Definitely not, because it's the same camera as this one. The heating solution is better than this one. The charging speed on the 5 Mark III is higher. It is at 30 watts, whereas this one is at 21. The battery charges exponentially. What does that mean? From 0 to 60 is going to be half an hour. From 60 to 90 is going to be another half an hour. And then from 90 to 100, it's going to be another half an hour, maybe even 40 minutes. This is the philosophy of keeping and preserving your battery life over time. If you want a fast charging solution, then again, this is not a phone for you. But this is a phone where you can plug in at any time between 20% and 80-90%, and you won't have to worry that you will destroy your phone's battery longevity by charging 30, 40, 50% at a time. So just quick refills, quick fill-ups will not damage the battery, and the whole purpose of this is, again, Sony's philosophy of giving you something that you will pay a lot of money for and you will be able to use it for a few years down the road. Are they expensive when they're new? Yes, but Sony doesn't care. They make money from PlayStation, their cameras, their TVs, their audio gear, and so on. This is a phone that is an absolute masterpiece and a beast of a phone, but it's not for everybody. Most people, even gamers, will enjoy this ridiculously. Even though this is not a gaming phone per se, like ROG phones or Lenovo phones and whatever, this will give you a better overall gaming experience because of the power features, because of the frame rate features, because of the heating solution features than most other gaming phones will. Should you buy this? Definitely yes. Screen, absolute beast. Battery life, everything. If you have any questions, ask in the comments. I tried to keep this as short as possible, but it's just impossible with a phone this good. Don't listen to other reviewers. They will just shit on Sony because Sony just doesn't cater to their reviewer needs. That's the whole point. See you in the next one.